Kim will be starting, will be introducing the session. Rohan.
관이라고 한 것 같은데.
창 순서를 고정을 시키는 방법은 없을까요?
그 피닝 하면은 하나는 고정이 돼 있긴데.
이 사람들 말할 때마다 막 달랑달랑 바뀌잖아요, 순서가.
예.
And everything is good there, Tan?
Okay, we are ready, so why don't we start? Is it okay?
From us? Okay, are we set? You wish me to start with the session first?
Yes, let us start. The two more members are coming, but we can start, I think. If you are ready.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, Prof. Han, I would like to just stress, I think it's good if we can start exactly 10 o'clock. It's like 5 more minutes. So I will begin the session with our national language because we have outside community, meaning to say outside our university, there are a number of viewers who are actually listening, and maybe the introduction, I will begin in Bahasa Malaysia first, and then I will follow with English language slowly and gradually, and then I will pass it over to you to start with the session calling for the video recording of your
Director.
yeah, your director, right? Director for this program. So he will be sharing a video message recorded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prof. Arham, good morning. Assalamualaikum. You're there? You're ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. We have here Prof. Han. You remember Prof. Arham was the one who chaired our session when you first met in Kelantan. Nampak lah yang video ni bila I dah buka-buka ni kan dia macam tak nampak.
저쪽 비킨 다
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat pagi. Salam satu Malaysia kepada semua yang saya hormati. Para akademik, ya, ilmuwan, rakan-rakan seperjuangan di mana-mana saja, ya, terutama sekali yang berada di Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, di kampus kami di Pekalan Cepa, di Bacok dan di Jeli. Dan kita ingin memulakan sesi ini dengan sedikit latar belakang mengenai program yang sedang kami usahakan bersama. Ya, hari ini kita akan bersama-sama menikmati sesi perkongsian bengkel yang telah dilaksanakan secara online. Dan sesi ini adalah merupakan kerjasama yang kita panggil sebagai program-program di bawah penganjuran UNESCO UniTwin antara Fakulti Keusahawanan dan Perniagaan Universiti Malaysia Kelantan dan Handong Global University Korea Selatan yang dibiayai daripada grant United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organisation atau ringkasnya kita sebut sebagai UNESCO. Ya, sebagai pengenalan kepada semua rakan-rakan di luar sana, UNESCO UniTwin Network ini adalah program yang diwujudkan oleh pihak UNESCO di mana jaringan bersama universiti-universiti yang berada di bawah UniTwin, University Twinning and Networking dilaksanakan. Jadi antara aktiviti yang dicadangkan adalah lebih menumpu kepada latihan, ya, pembangunan penyelidikan, latihan pendidikan keusahawanan teknologi, pembangunan kapasiti dan pengupayaan ke arah pendidikan keusahawanan industri 4.0 yang mempunyai objektif berorientasikan sustainable development bersama negara-negara membangun di dalam ASEAN. Saya Raja Suzana Raja Kasim adalah Profesor Keusahawanan daripada Universiti Malaysia Kelantan dan merupakan ketua projek, ya, dan program yang dilantik di bawah host utama daripada Handong Global University, Dan Handong Global University adalah merupakan universiti pertama yang dilantik oleh UNESCO untuk menjadi host bagi projek program yang telah dijalankan sejak tahun 2003 lagi. Ya. Jadi untuk meneruskan sesi ini antara lainnya kami memohon izin untuk meneruskan dalam perantara bahasa Inggeris. Ya. A very good morning. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Director of UNESCO UNITWIN Handong Global University, Republic of Korea, Dr. Jin Woon Han. I was made understood that he wasn't able to be physically present with us. However, he will be joining us to deliver his message by recorded version. Yeah, we have Prof. Shangil and Prof. Yoon Sek Han. Yeah, Prof is a professor of a School of Computing Science and Electrical Engineering, and also the director of Green Technology and Entrepreneurship Center. We have our dear Prof, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research and Innovation, Prof Technologies, Dr. Arham Abdullah. Welcome, Prof. And on her way also our Dean of Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, University of Malaysia Kelantan, Professor Dr. Roslina Ahmad Saufi. And to all our to all our listeners out there, our buddy entrepreneurs, we have outsider communities, our graduates, our students, and our fellow academics, along with the online audiences. I have here my organizing committee all together with us in the venue. So ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and welcome again to our UNESCO UNITWIN virtual joint workshop for research and education collaboration between University Malaysia Kelantan and Handong Global University South Korea. Now, we would like to begin our session by inviting the Honorable Director of UNESCO UNITWIN, Dr. Jin Woon Han, to deliver his recorded message. And please, I hand over to you, Prof. Han. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Dr. Jin Woon Han, Dean of Policy and Planning at Handong Global University. Today, it is a great pleasure that Handong Global University, in partnership with University Malaysia Kelantan, a famous university in Malaysia, hosts today's Industry 4.0 Research and Education Collaboration Workshop. As you may know, the Handong Global University is UNESCO UNITWIN host university in the area of the capacity building of sustainable development in the developing countries. Handong was designated its first UNESCO UNITWIN host university in Korea in 2007. Since then, we have been working with the partners in developing countries in such programs like, say, startup and venture ideas, and also the entrepreneurship training, and also the urban development and joint education programs with higher education institutions in the developing countries. Currently, we are working with about 20 universities in 14 countries, including Peru, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Mongolia, Uzbekistan, Nepal, and also universities in Africa such as Addis Ababa University in Ethiopia and St. John's University in Kenya and Tanzania, Chad, and universities in Ghana. So we are covering 3 continents in the area of the capacity building of sustainable development in those countries. And also, since we are working more than 10 years in several programs, we have certain, experience, and also we are always ready to expand our activities in developing countries to fulfill the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. These were mentioned at least 5 times by the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, praising our activities in developing countries. And also our activities were listed in the United Nations Academic Impact newsletters in the last October and December. And also we are also actively working with the international organizations and NGO organizations working majorly in the developing countries. Handong Global University will be going forward to share our experiences and strategies and know-how through our UNESCO Unity in programs, as well as accelerate our pursuit of other programs and enterprises that stimulate higher education development. I'm pleased that University Malaysia Kelantan has joined the UNESCO Unity Network and hope that future close collaborations will promote growth and cooperations between both universities and our two respective countries. Finally, I would like to offer my deepest gratitude to all the professors and experts presenting in this workshop, and to all the individuals and students who helped in organizing this workshop. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you very much to our dear director of UNESCO UniTwin program for Handong Global University. Prof. Han, would you like the session proceed with the next? Prof. Shangil would be speaking anything?
Alright, so this is Chamge. Well, I'm the one who is speaking now. So, well, I am going to keep some. We're going to introduce the idea that we have. I mean, the Handong Global University faculty members has towards this UNESCO Unity program. Well, first of all, it is a great pleasure to meet you all. The UMK faculty members participating in the UNESCO and UniTwin workshop program. We very much appreciate your initiative and participation. During this 3-day-long workshop program, myself and 4 other Handong faculty members will give lectures on the topics that are relevant to various areas in artificial intelligence. This includes recurrent neural network and natural language processing, AI in healthcare, robots in research and education, brain-computer interfacing, and their applications, and AI-driven business model development. For each of these lectures, we are going to talk in 2 or 3 themes. So first of all, we will introduce various subfields in AI that each speaker is working on. Then we will present the research topics that each speaker has worked on in recent years. We will also introduce our research labs along with the Handong undergraduate and graduate education programs. So I hope all these content are helpful for UNK faculties. I also would like to recognize that UNK has prepared and offering five distinguished lectures, including Lean Startup Principles in Value Proposition Design, Adaptive Learning System for Sustainable Education, Augmented Reality in Enterprise Solutions, AI as Strategic Tools in Higher Level Education, Industry 4.0 from Value Proposition to Business Model. We have much expectation towards these lectures. Well, Steve Jobs, in his famous commencement address at Stanford University, mentioned that changes and progress are made through connecting dots. For next 3 days, we are going to present and share the dots that each lecturer has solved for, from each entry-level AI techniques to higher-level application studies, from individual technologies to AI-driven business model. One biggest hope is that by having this workshop program and sharing all of our dots that we have been working on, we may cross-connect these dots across Handong and UMK, across Pohang and Kelantan, and across Korea and Malaysia. In the effort to connect our academic expertise, we expect that we can eventually change both communities. In particular, Handong looks forward to the potentials in collaboration in academic research projects, collaborations in rural community development projects, and student exchange as well. Especially Handong is looking for highly motivated candidate for our graduate school. We highly hope that this workshop program becomes a strong ignition that can spark on all these potentials. Thank you.
Prof. Jang Gil Hong, thank you very much for your visionary and your aspirations toward the program. I think similarly, University Malaysia Kelantan is also in the pipeline of making our talents prepared for Industry 4.0. And then I think I have the pleasure to invite our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation to welcome our sessions and all of us. And let us hear from him, Professor Technologist Dr. Arham Abdullah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. Annyeonghaseyo to our friends in Korea. First and foremost, let us together pray gratitude to Allah SWT for His grace. We are given the time and opportunity and also a good health to gather on today's session. And welcome to our UNESCO Unit WIN virtual joint workshop for research and education collaboration between University Malaysia Kelantan and Handong Global University South Korea. Allow me to congratulate the organizer for hosting this successful international session. And on behalf of our Vice Chancellor, we would like to say thank you to all for attending this premier session. And I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the official delegates, senior government officials, business leaders, and members of the Security and Enforcement Services for who are present on today's session. And first of all, to Honorable Director of UNESCO Unit WIN Handong Global University, Republic of Korea, Dr. Jimwon An, Professor Dr. Raja Suzana Raja Kasim, Head of Program of UNESCO Unit WIN Malaysia, and on behalf of the Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, UMK, Prof. Jang Gil Hong and Prof. Yong Sik Han, Professor of School of Computer Science and Electrical Engineering, and the Director of Green Technology and Entrepreneurship Center, Prof. Dr. Roslina Ahmad Salfi, the Dean, Faculty of Entrepreneurship, Business, UMC Malaysia Kelantan, and our esteemed buddy entrepreneurs, student graduates, organizing committee members, fellow academics, and online audience. Ladies and gentlemen, let me please get a few minutes to share our thoughts on this session. This is our first ever international joint workshop for research and education, and I was made understood that the co-organization of event between Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, University of Malaysia Kelantan, and Handong Global University, Republic of Korea, I wish to join hand in giving a full support on this event, as it is an internationally recognized activity in delivering various impacts of establishment of Unit Win cooperation between and it was funded by UNESCO and the Network on Capacity Building in Developing Countries in ASEAN region. I could still remember, I believe last year, I met a Handong Global University team, and it was led by Professor Yong Shik Han, a day where he paid a visit to our city campus at Pengkalan Cepa, Kota Baru, Kelantan. And considering that one of the essential factors favoring development in the field of competence of UNESCO, the team has proposed the interest to look on possibilities of considering UMC Malaysia Kelantan on exchange of experience and knowledge between the universities. However, it was just a beginning. Today, in the fact that UMC Malaysia Kelantan is known as it based as an entrepreneurial university, we have been discussing to assess the university expertise to connect with the opportunity to work on relevant industry 4.0 expertise, skills, and fostering the role of technology entrepreneurship into a momentum. As you know, at UMK in Malaysia Kelantan, we have a center called Artificial Intelligence and Big Data Centers. And I believe this center can collaborate with the Faculty of Entrepreneurship in making this happen. As such, the environment of initiating a joint program relating to the needs of our community, graduates, talents available at the university was more, and the discussion appears to be encouraging and meet its purposes. Our mutual interest is to describe the role of University of Malaysia Kelantan is in fostering technology entrepreneurship, focusing on technology, and also discuss how the University of Malaysia Kelantan environment encourage creativity, technology entrepreneurship, and detail best practice of what Handong Global University can create a supporting mechanism in interest of molding our needs into opportunity, in particular in building talent and also startup in Industry 4.0. And then the purpose of this program is to have a joint work with university lecturers, researchers, and administrators and graduates from Malaysia to benefit the entire academic community and society at large. I believe the knowledge and skill at Handong University can be shared with us to benefit us all. As this platform is also involving the network on capacity building for sustainable development in developing countries in ASEAN region, as Professor Jiwon mentioned just now. And the essential factors favoring development in the field of competence of UNESCO is indeed on time. And we at University of Malaysia Kelantan welcome the exchange of experience and knowledge between the universities. I also made understood on the support that United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization set forth the role of UNESCO in promoting sustainable development through this inter-university program. And this would surely be regarded as highly important to position our rules and our move to work on any opportunity that could stimulate the rapid transfer of knowledge through this nature of twinning, networking, and linking arrangement. And as we know today, COVID-19 crisis has changed our unusual norm of life, and as an academic institution, It has also changed the way of our business at the university was conducted. As expected, the momentum of conducting an event virtually or online is expected that in the next few months or years will not be the same, and we have to re-strategize and plan for the future of our education. We need to take steps to save our entrepreneurial capacity, move, and even the prediction that the business and academic during this period, the COVID-19 is likely to lead us to a recession and change the way we interact. Look at today, the new norm has been in act. It has changed our conversation through the world, not only from classroom, today virtual session, but the activities that can prevent us from getting into crowd and support of social distancing. Uh, while we are on the verge of managing this current health crisis, I'm glad to learn that UNESCO Unit Win program is making possible effort to keep on delivering its arrangement of adapting strategies response to prepare our mind and how we work on virtual platform, resulting in new habits and doing things. And in these 3 days training collaboration, collaborative research education, all ideas between experts from UMK and Hangdong universities will be shared, helping our understand to establish an international cooperative research, education, training opportunities, and initiating various programs for future. In particular, information technology industry 4.0 knowledge, topic relating to industry 4.0 such as intelligent data learning, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, in graduate enterprise solution, understanding the lean startup principles in value and as on 17 August 2020, the organizing committee from UMK has confirmed the participation of more than 200 participants from the range age as young as 15 years old and seniors as 62 years old. Yeah. And this diverse nature of interest comes from combination of university community, students, lecturers, community and ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to welcome all professors from Hangdong Global Universities and University Kelantan in this virtual workshop. And I believe that successful implementation of this program would possibly take us to the out of this post-COVID-19 dilemma and into a brave new world of engaging each other when an abundant opportunity may be waiting. And I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, University Malaysia Kelantan, and its organizing team who has lent their best effort and energy with the team of from Guangdong Global Universities, in particular, Professor Yang Sik Han, Mrs. Gyun Kim. Do enjoy your session and have a good day. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, just now it was unmuted. Thank you very much, Prof. Technologies, Dr. Arham Abdullah, our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation, for his welcoming thoughts. And of course, we at University Malaysia Kelantan would be very much happy to have all of you today. Inshallah, for the next couple of days, we are going to spend our energy to co-share our expertise, our research, our past, compilation of what we have been doing in our angle of interest. And today we have actually starting to get to know what actually can we offer. And throughout the session, as Prof. Arham had mentioned, indeed, yes, we have a good number of response from community, not only from our university, but other individual who are eager to learn more about what Industry 4.0 could offer into the context of Malaysian education and research. At this juncture, well, we have more than 200 over participations who had registered throughout our online registrations. And then I think we are glad that, questions had also been prepared by them. We have more than 20 questions. I think I'm going to just channel those respected, query about relevant field when the sessions come in. Yeah. So Prof. Han, we gonna have our next session. It will be according to our schedule. We are actually ahead from our plan, and possibly if you would like to share any further development about the past work of what UNESCO Unit Twin had been doing, it could be beneficial for our viewers and listeners in Malaysia to learn about any development. Can you maybe respond to that?
Okay, so I'm very honored to have this kind of a workshop with the renowned University Malaysia Kelantan. And actually, the University Malaysia Kelantan has a very good reputation and has a lot of capability. Our university, Handong, is a little bit young, maybe older than UMK, but we have recently enlarged the School of Computer Science. The faculty member of our school is almost 27, so most of them focused on the computer science and the AI. So in a sense, we can contribute, or we can, I think we can be a help for UMK to become a strong university in IR 4.0, entrepreneurship university. So I expect that we can build a very nice, ambitious program which responds to the trend of Industrial Revolution 4.0 based on artificial intelligence. So we can provide the more basic technology on that side. So probably we can develop a very nice fancy output from our collaboration. So we are starting now. So I think within 2 or 3 years, we will be able to produce a good model of collaboration. So I am very happy to start the first step for that goal. So I expect, even though we have a corona, so I think we can communicate well through Zoom and Google. That will be, so anyway, I am very happy to expect that such kind of good result. Thank you.
Yeah, I think at this juncture, we are in time of crisis, despite the fact that, the significant of economic disruption that has caused by this COVID-19. a lot of things need to be explored in terms of long-term effect on employment in particular, and in innovation that can be mitigated by possibly taking steps now to support, existing startup and the creation of new firm. Now, there are relevant opportunities perhaps we can explore together in our vision as an entrepreneurial university in the country. We are putting a lot of energy, a lot of effort to make sure that this, crisis will not give an impact in terms of our belief and pursuit of interest in innovation. So, in our economy, currently, I think people have been talking about recession, right? So recession are oftentimes, heightened restructuring that could have a lot of implications and lead to a stronger and more resilient economy. So now, the dilemma of our startup is actually the things that perhaps this afternoon I'm going to ponder and bring about, and perhaps that could give another perspective on the part of South Korea, and how actually you can deliver all this, period of crisis, because it offers a lot of challenges, but at the same time it deliver a lot of new opportunities for us, yeah, to spark the interest of startup. And perhaps, well, we can dwell further on the role of technology and how actually industry 4.0 is opening a new way of partnership, collaboration, in terms of both research and education. Yeah, Prof Han, we can also give the rest of our friends next to you, possibly if they wish to share any other, perspective on their expertise, because I think at this juncture, this workshop would highlight a lot more about each other individual expertise, right? We just have to move about the time, because we still have ample time before we start our session at 11, or would you prefer to start it earlier?
Actually, Handong faculty needs to relocate to another city, which is about an hour far from here, Handong campus. So we actually scheduled everything considering this kind of relocation. So we would better stick to the original schedule. So can you do that?
Yeah. We can stick, but throughout the rest of other, activities, um, maybe we can just like have a two-way communication about, at this nature of, in time of crisis, what can we learn from each other expertise to offer new way of doing things, yeah, what industry 4.0 research and education collaboration effort can bring along to benefit, community in University Malaysia Kelantan.
무슨 얘기죠?
이게 다른 주제를 그 사이에 더 이야기해보자는 것 같아요.
뭐 익스퍼트랑 이런 거 이야기하자고.
투웨이 커뮤니케이션을 어떻게 하면 잘할 수 있을지 그런 거 아니에요?
어디 주세요. 무슨 말인지 모르겠는데.
그러니까 우리가 다 로케이트 옮기니까
네.
중간에는 할 수가 없을 것 같아요.
네. We actually physically need to move from one place to the other, so where we cannot sustain this two-way communication per se. So where maybe we need to have a break, and Dr. Hyo Choi, he will start his session at 11, 12 p.m. in Korea or 1 o'clock in our 11 a.m. in Malaysia. Is it possible?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Possibly to all viewers out there, I think both of our committee has agreed. We're going to take a few minutes break and we
Yeah.
shall resume our session sharp at 11 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come back. So stay tuned. By 11, we're going to start again our session. Yeah, our first sharing session. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
제 오피스에서 해야 될 것 같아요.
Okay, it's time's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back to the session. Give me 1 minute just
Okay.
to take a look back on our agenda. All right, welcome back to our second session. This is going to be our first ever sharing. We have here Prof. Hyo Choi. Correct me if I'm wrong announcing your name.
Oh, you can call me Henry.
Henry, my
Right.
goodness, this is nice.
Okay.
Okay, now before we start with the session, Prof. Henry will be delivering a topic entitled Recurrent Neural Networks and Natural Language Processing, right? To all the audience out there, would just like to give some guide on the, while the speaker is presenting, right? We are now online, and then the idea is about to bring all the best from every participant, and we have ground rules that we have to make everybody aware. Yeah, so it will give our conference workshop here a good meeting ethic, and then we should be able to also respect everyone's time and ideas, and then we have to make sure that we muted okay, we muted ourselves, and then the background noise disrupts maybe our presentations, our speakers, so we appreciate if you can just make sure that your background noise will be muted. Yeah, and then if you have anything close to your TV or any music, please, there is a mute button on your laptop or computer, right? Please make sure that take it as your friend, use the mute button when you are not speaking also. All right, so for those audience who wish to perhaps listen and maybe reserve some questions, right, before you start to speak later, after the speaker completed his session, make sure that you start and state your name, right? So we know that you are talking, and you can also write your questions on the chat box while awaiting to hear Professor Henry Choi. So Prof. Henry, you are ready?
Yeah.
If you do, I let the sessions over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing. Okay. Can I share my screen here?
Yeah.
Host disabled and attendee screen sharing.
Yeah, screen on the middle of your
Yeah,
okay.
it's disabled, so I can't.
Okay, Kim, down Kim, our coordinator, I think you can assist that. Can you try again on the share screen, and then the
Still it is disabled.
okay.
So let me talk to her.
Yeah.
Oh, it's working. Good. Okay. So can you see my screen here?
Yes, I can see it very good.
Okay, good, good. Perfect. Okay. So let me get started. So first of all, thank you for inviting me to this great opportunity for future collaboration. So I'm glad to be part of this workshop. And today I'm going to talk about recurrent neural networks and natural language processing. Okay. But I think I'm the first speaker from Handong Global University. So let me show you where Handong Global University is. Okay. So can you see this red pin here? So basically, Handong Global University is located in Pohang City in South Korea. And it is actually in the southeast of South Korea. And okay, and HGU campus is on the north side of the city. Okay, so from this, you can see this East Sea. So we have ocean view kind of thing. Okay, so and around this campus, we have nothing except the farmland. So it's perfect place to study. Okay, so that's pretty much it about the Handong campus. So now, first of all, let me introduce our department first before talking about my research topics, because I'm a director of graduate department too. So as a director, let me show you what's happening in our department, okay? So our department name is Information Communication Engineering, and our goal is to equip students with the research skills to publish world-class papers and programming skills on an industrial level. So we think this research and development both are really important for students, for our department too. So actually research and developments, these two are kind of two pillars to educate our students. And for research, we actually expect our students to be excellent in AI with math skills, and they should be able to write technical papers. And for development, the students should be excellent in software programming with excellent coding skills, and they should be able to communicate with other programmers or colleagues. Okay, and in addition to this research and development, we also, as a part of Handong Global University, we actually regard leadership and the research ethics as important value. So we actually regard research spirit as a really important value. And I summarized all these the programs on the right table. So we have a PhD program and MS PhD integrated program and MS program. So they have a little different requirements, but for example, PhD has to get a PhD degree, the student should have 36 credits, and they should pass this quality exam and proposal and defense. And in addition to this requirement, they have to publish 2 SCI journal papers to graduate. It's pretty strong, I know, but we improved this, we increased this requirement recently. Okay, and this slide shows how we are doing and where we are headed. Okay, so this slide summarizes our current state and the future plans. So as you can see, we started developing MS program in 2017. Okay, and as you can see in this table, we had a MS program before 2017, but we didn't put much effort in the graduate programs. So now, from 2017 on, we put lots of effort in the graduate program, and it's not that long, right? So it's been like 3 years, and in 2018 we started a PhD program. Okay, so that's new one. We opened a PhD program. Okay, then in 2020, September, we are going to start the BK21. BK stands for Brain Korea. So that's actually Korean government project, which means our department is recognized by Korean government as a research institute. Okay, so before that, our university has been really famous for education-oriented university, not research. Even though we had a little research going on, but it was focused. We focused on education, undergraduate education. But now, from now on, so our school has a research institute too. And as you can see, before 2017, even though we had a graduate program, but we didn't accept many graduate students, like a couple of graduate students. But from 2017, we started accepting many graduate students. So we started 6 and 10 and 13. And in 2020, I guess it's not fixed yet, but I guess it will be around 15 or more than 15. So, I mean, we are growing up. Okay. And also still we are actively recruiting students from our campus, HGU, and other universities. It could be domestic or it could be international. Actually, we are really interested in international students. Okay. So currently we have 3 international students, but I'm hoping to increase the number. Okay. So we want to make our department international. And also, we are interested in recruiting students from industries too. And not just the students. So recently, in the past 5 years, we have been hiring 11 new software faculty members, including AI faculty members. So 11 new software faculty members, which is huge, right? So we are actually changing and growing. And this slide summarizes the curriculum of our department. So basically we are focusing on AI. So we have a couple of classes about AI. So fundamental classes and advanced classes. And as I said, the research spirit is an important value in our department. So we teach leadership and ethics, etc. And also, as I said, research and developments are 2 important pillars in our department. So not just lectures. So we have industrial projects with the students. So students can be involved in these projects so that they can learn something about industrial environment. Okay, and then the students should take 21 credit about the thesis research, and this one is done by one-on-one advising. Okay, that's pretty good for students. And the students should take 9 credit about AI or software or AI application or whatever. So we have 3 different categories in our classes: major and convergence and research spirit. So major has AI and software. So when it comes to AI, we have lots of AI classes: machine learning, deep learning, NLP, and computer vision, pattern recognition, reinforcement learning, and advanced AI classes. And also we have a couple of software engineering classes. And the convergence means we want to apply this AI and software to actual problem, probably from industries. So we have some classes about healthcare and semiconductor and etc. And about the leadership, we have a couple of seminar classes, and we have a Christian worldview and the technology and calling, etc. So we have lots of opportunities. Okay, so this slide summarizes our research status and the plan. Okay, so we are aiming to publish high quality papers like top tier conference. And we actually encourage international collaborations. So actually, that this workshop can be counted as one of these efforts. So we want to collaborate with many people from international institute or companies. And we want to establish actually sustainable systems such as the AI Research Center, which can be an headquarter for all the industrial projects. Okay. So for research efforts, actually, we have been working on a couple of things. So from 2015 to 2019, so we have been hiring many faculty members, as I said, and then we developed new curriculums. So, as I said, we have a lot of AI classes, but most of them were pretty new. So I started deep learning class like 3 years ago, and I started deep learning NLP like 2 years ago. So we are opening new deep learning or AI classes again and again. And we have been working on many industrial projects, okay? And we are planning to have more projects in the coming years. And this graph summarizes the number of SCI journal papers. So as you can see, from 2015 or 16, it is increasing exponentially. So we're expecting like this, okay? So we plan to increase this number 153% by 2027, which means by 2027, our department will be one of the top department in Korea, okay? So that's our plan. And this slide summarizes our industrial efforts. Okay, so we have lots of AI research projects since 2016 with major AI companies in Korea like Samsung Electronics. I think you heard Samsung Electronics, and Kakao, which is a huge company in Korea too, and POSCO. POSCO is a huge company in the steel industry, and SK Telecom is actually a huge company too. NCSoft is a huge company in the game industry. So we have been working on many projects with these major players. And also we have many research projects with the startups like StrataVision, Beta, DeepBio, and Skeletal Labs. And we have been contributing to local industries and research centers like POSCO and the RIST and Pohang Medical Centers. Okay, so I just said, I mentioned POSCO just a moment ago. Actually, we are actually an official partner to POSCO for Smart Factory. So this actually proves that. Okay, so we have a connection, a strong, close connection with POSCO. Okay, and then RIST is a research center for POSCO, and the Pohang Medical Center. We actually started working with Pohang Medical Center. Pohang Medical Center is kind of public hospital in Pohang, which means they gather lots of data set, and they don't know how to analyze the data set. So actually, we have an MOU, okay, and then we started collaborating with these people recently, and then. In addition to industrial projects and the contributions, we have a couple of more kind of contributions to industries. So we have advised industries in many ways. Like we have some professors who are AI advisor for Samsung Electronics, and we have a POSCO AI professor who actually gave lots of talks to POSCO people. engineers and board members. And we gave a lot of advices to startups or to major companies. And also we we have been invited for lectures from many companies: Samsung Electronics, LG Electronics, SK Telecom, and the Naver, Kakao, Postgres, the Zoom, Vedas, etc. So we have been doing great with industry. And also, additionally, we have more plans. So we are going to open AI workshop for companies. You know, the companies are really busy so they cannot review all the recent papers. So we can do that for companies. Okay, so you know, as a university, we have to read lots of papers, and then we're going to share this knowledge with companies with these AI workshops. Okay, then we will actually provide a technical support to industries, especially startups, and we'll send our graduate students to companies as an intern. So by this, we can have a mutual benefits, like the companies can get hands-on knowledge about AI by the students, right? And also, we can provide some industrial environment or opportunity to students, so they can learn what's going on in actual industrial environment. Okay, so we can enjoy the mutual benefit. Okay, so and this slide summarizes our internationalization effort. Okay, so we have, I mean, the Handong Global University has lots of MOUs with 183 universities from 57 countries, including lots of engineering schools. And we have internship and collaboration and workshops. And as I said, this workshop, okay, this workshop with UMK can be counted as one of this effort. And we we increased the paper requirement for graduation, as I said. Okay, so the students are, so we push the students to publish their papers in the top tier conferences and international journals. And we have lectures in English. Actually, most classes are 50% or 100% in English. Actually, whenever we have international student in the class, then all the class goes in English. Okay. And actually, my lab meeting goes in English too, because we have international students in our lab. And as I said, we are actively recruiting international students. So if you have any talented students who are interested in studying in Korea, okay, then we are interested in them too. Okay. So, okay, and then we visit universities and institutes and companies abroad. Okay. Actually, we encourage. And we invite professors and researchers for seminars or visiting professorships. So, we are actually opening this opportunity between these two universities. So we can try many different things. Like we can invite professors from UMK, for some seminars in our graduate seminar class, or vice versa. You can invite us to your graduate seminar class, or we can invite professors from your side, or you can invite professors from our side. Okay, so we can think of this kind of collaboration too. Okay, and then we encourage professors to volunteer at international conferences, like chair or board or committee members. And we're planning collaboration with world-class researchers. So we have some connections to world-class researchers like Yoshua Benjo in deep learning or Kyunghyun Cho about the deep learning NLP. So we have connection with them. So we're planning more collaboration with them. Okay, so to sum up, okay, why HGU graduate school? So basically, we have lots of scholarship opportunity. So basically, 65% of the tuition fee is exempted. Okay, and then dormitory can be provided for international students or for graduate students. And recently, one student can use whole room by himself or herself temporarily. And the student can be involved in the R&D project for RA ships. So currently, all graduate students are involved in R&D project. And last but not least, so we have a passionate and caring advisors. Actually, there is a strong student professor rapport. So the students, the distance between the students and the professors are really close. The Handong University is really unique in that sense. Okay, there is no distance between the students and professors. We're really close. Okay, so that's one good thing. Okay. Oh, by the way, I know we have a Q&A session at the end of this presentation, but if you have some questions, then anytime you can jump in. Okay, I'm fine with that. And we have lots of labs in our department. So we have a lot of AI related labs or software related labs. Okay. Okay, good. So far, I have introduced our department. Now, as a part of this department, I'm running one lab, machine intelligence lab. So this is me. And I have three students, two master students and one MS PhD integrated student and one researcher here. If you're interested, then you can click so you can see what's going on in my lab there. And we have lots of undergraduate students for capstone and pre-capstone and post-capstone and so on. This is my resume, brief resume. So I'm an assistant professor. Probably next month, I'm going to be associate professor, I guess. Hope. And also, I'm a director of our graduate department and the director of one research institute. And before that, I was invited scientist at MILA, Montreal Institute of Learning and Algorithms. If you're working on deep learning or AI, then you know what I mean by MILA. Okay, so I was there for almost 1 year. And before that, I was a research staff member at Samsung Advanced Institute of Technology. Actually, a site is kind of research center for Samsung Electronics. And before that, I was a postdoc in Indiana University, working on brain and psychology. And before that, I got my PhD from Texas A&M. And my research interest covers deep learning as well as machine learning and the cognitive science and the natural language processing. Okay, and this slide summarizes what's going on in our lab. So basically, MILAB or Machine Intelligence Lab is all about deep learning and NLP. Okay, and especially we're interested in algorithms, fundamental issues, and theories, focusing on recurrent neural networks and the reinforcement learning. And for applications, we have been working with many companies, POSCO, and Veda, SK Telecom, Kakao, and Etri, working on many different domain problems like NLP and network intelligence and smart factory. POSCO is a factory actually. So POSCO is so much interested in smart factory. So we had a couple of projects with POSCO about the smart factory. And actually in POSCO factory, our algorithms are running actually. Okay. And I'm teaching a couple of graduate classes on machine learning or deep learning. So the first one is machine learning. The title of this class is machine learning for undergraduate and graduate. And this is actually 16-week lectures with lots of homework and exams, obviously. And the next one is the deep learning class, only for graduate students. So I provide 2-week lectures, and then the rest of the semester can be done with these paper reviews by the students. It's like a seminar class. And we have a deep learning NLP class, which is similar to deep learning class, but focusing on NLP. And also we have reinforcement learning class. And I don't have advanced AI class yet, but I'm planning to open advanced AI 1 or 2 for recent paper review class. Okay, so far I introduced our department and my lab. Okay, not so much about the research topic in detail. Now I'm going to talk about recurrent neural network and the natural language processing. So do you have any question, or can I move on? Okay.
Yeah, please move on.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we are eager to learn more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think I have around 15 minutes, which is too short, but I will try to do my best to go through all the research topics. Okay. This is the outline of my presentation. So basically, I'm going to introduce what RNNs are. I guess some of you are already familiar with RNNs, but let me briefly introduce what RNNs are. And then I'm going to talk about language modeling and neural machine translation and sentence generation, really briefly. And I'm going to talk about the basic ideas of these applications. And at the same time, I'm going to put my work in the middle of these presentations, okay? So there are lots of research directions in these applications, but I'm not going to cover all the directions, okay? I will just talk about the basic ideas, and then I will talk about my idea and my work. Okay, so I think all of you are already familiar with this kind of graph. Okay, so we have been seeing this upheaval in pattern recognition based on the deep learning. Okay, good, and especially in object recognitions. When it comes to image recognitions, now our deep learning is better than our human eyes. Okay, so it's better than us. It actually it started in 2012. Actually, it started like 2006 or 2009 or so. But 2012, there was a monumental paper from Jeff Hinton's group. So actually, Alex Krivsky published one paper in NIPS in 2012. And that paper actually was a revolutionary paper. So it actually changed everything. Okay, so I think you're already familiar with these things. And after that, we have more kind of new applications, like image caption generations. We never imagined this kind of application before. So based on the deep learning, we could imagine, and we actually made some algorithms for image caption generation. And there have been a significant improvement in speech recognitions. Actually, MS, Microsoft Research started this work first, and then Samsung did too. So if you are using a Samsung smartphone, then you are using some of my tears and sweat. Okay, so when I was in Samsung, actually I proposed speech recognition systems, and then we developed a speech recognition system, which is the S voice. So S voice is actually we contribute. Our team was the major player to develop S voice. So And I was kind of technical leader in the team, and I proposed the direction and we implemented. Okay. So anyway, if you're using Samsung smartphone, then you are close to me. Okay. And machine translations done by Skype. So these new kind of advances are originally done by RNNs, recurrent neural networks. Okay, so recurrent neural networks compared to feed-forward neural networks, RNNs have additional recurrent connections. We'll talk about this what these recurrent connections mean. Okay, and later. And compared to HMM, hidden macro models, RNNs have infinite number of states with the distributed representations. It increases expression power exponentially. Okay, so I just compared this feed-forward neural network and recurrent neural network with simple equations. So if you take a look at these equations, then you can see the difference. The difference is quite simple. We have just only one tiny little term in this equation. And by this, we have lots of benefit, but there's no free lunch. So we have lots of problems too. So we means the RNA researchers. We have proposed many different techniques to overcome the problems to get this benefit. And when we apply RNNs, then there are a couple of different structures. Actually, the first one is not RNN. This one is actually simple feed-forward neural networks. So there is one-to-one relations between the input and output. But when we use RNNs, then we can enjoy many different types of relations between input and output. For example, we can have one-to-many relations between input and output. For example, if you think about the image caption generations, the input is one image. Okay, so given one image, then we can generate lots of words. Okay, we are generating one sentence, but we cannot generate one sentence directly. So we actually generate one word at a time. So if we are completing one sentence, then we are generating like 3 words or 10 words or 15 words. Okay, so there is a one-to-many relations between input and output. And in text categorizations, we have many-to-one relations. So we have lots of words in one article. Okay, and then we want to categorize this article into one of many classes. Like, is it sports? Is it politics? Is it art? Is it music or whatever? So we have a many-to-one relations. And we can have many-to-many relations in a slightly different way. So machine translation and speech recognition, they have many-to-many relations, but they have a different type of relations. So in machine translations, we have many-to-many, but there is a little shift between the input and output, because think about these translations. We have to, when we translate from one language to another language, then we have to wait until one kind of phrase is done, right? So we have to wait until this phrase is done, then we can start translating. But when it comes to speech recognition, then we don't have to wait. When the speech signals are coming in, then we can start recognizing. So there's no, actually technically there is a slight shift, but compared to machine translation, there's no much shift there. Okay, so I said in RNN we have recurrent connections, and it gives us a memory effect. Okay, and this memory effect can be compared to working memory in cognitive modeling. So cognitive modeling is modeling our brain. So what's happening when we memorize something, or what's happening when we interact with external world. So Atkinson and Schifrin, they actually proposed this model. So in this model, we have a sensor memory and short-term memory and long-term memory. Okay, sensor memory is something like iconic. So it goes for like just 2 seconds or 0 point some seconds. Okay, and then in the sensor signal, we have lots of information. Okay, but we don't actually process all of them. We actually selected some of them with attention, and this selected piece of information comes into our working memory. And this working memory is actually shorter. So we can memorize 7 or 8 or 9 random numbers temporarily, but if you think something else, then if you come back, then we lost the information. So that's the short-term memory. It can go like 15 seconds. Okay, so the memory in RNNs, is only short-term memory. Okay, it's not long-term memory. So I'm gonna tell you about something like a long short-term memory, but long short-term memory is also short-term memory actually, technically. And from short-term memory, if we repeat that numbers again and again and again, okay, so if we have like 7 random numbers, like a phone number from your friend, then if we repeat that numbers again and again, then we can store that information in the long-term memory space. Technically, we don't know where we have this long-term memory in our brain, but let's assume that there is some place, okay? So we can store that information in our long-term memory. And whenever we need that information, then we can retrieve. And by retrieving, then we extract that information from long-term memory to short-term memory. So then we can work on it, okay? So there are corresponding brain areas for the short-term sensory memory, short-term memory, long-term memory. And also we have corresponding computer chips like IO devices correspond to sensor memory, and the registers are corresponding to short-term memory, and memory disk for to long-term memory. So what I'm saying here is that RNN memory is always about short-term memory. And I'm going to talk about long-term memory later. Long-term memory is not part of RNNs. Long-term memory is actually external memory. It's not a part of neural networks at all. Okay, so in the conventional RNNs, recurrent connection works as memory, as I said, but this memory is not that efficient. So some information comes into this memory space, but if we have different information comes in, then this information fades away. So we actually lose this information as time goes. So we don't want that. So LSTM was proposed. LSTM is actually long short-term memory. Again, as I said, LSTM is always short-term memory, but it's long. That's why the name is long short-term memory. Okay, in long short-term memory, actually, we have a couple of gates to control this information flow. So whenever we want to accept this information, then we open the gate. And when we don't like that information, we just close the gate. So this information goes into this memory space, but this one cannot because we closed the gate. And whenever we want, then we open this gate so we can pass this information through this time. And whenever we need that information, we open the gate so we can use it. So we can control these 3 gates to pass the information, to use the information, to accept the information, so that we can enjoy this information as much as possible. As long as we want, we can enjoy that information in theory. And then there are lots of variations about RNNs. Instead of using gate, there are other techniques. So iRNN or uRNN, they actually use conventional RNN with a little different techniques. Okay, then they say, oh, with these little techniques, then we can achieve the same kind of performance as LSTM. Okay, that's great. And I did too. So I proposed one paper. I published one paper about persistent recurrent units. So I improved LSTM slightly. And so there are lots of variations. Okay, and then now I want to talk about the regularization of RNNs. So, in machine learning, there are lots of regularization techniques, including dropout. So in the beginning of this deep learning era, dropout was proposed as a good regularizer. but dropout could not be applied to recurrent neural networks. So there were a couple of variations, but to me, those dropout techniques were not correct. So we proposed a new kind of dropout algorithm for RNNs. So it's quite simple. So we have to apply the same kind of dropout mask through across the sequence. So on the one sequence, we have to apply the same kind of mask. That's it. That's a simple idea, but it worked perfectly. And actually, Yalnukund, actually they proposed a special dropout for CNNs. So actually CNN and RNNs, they share a lot of things in common. So RN drop is similar to special dropout in a sense that they don't actually break the temporal structure or spatial structure. Okay. Now, speaking of which, okay, so we actually wrote another paper about dropout. Actually, people understand dropout as a regularization technique. Okay, that's the standard understanding about the dropout. But I had a different idea, and I thought dropout could be understood as an optimization trick. So we did a lot of experiments, and we proposed one different hypothesis, different explanations about dropout, and it was accepted and it was published this spring. Okay. So I'm not going to go through all the details, but what I'm saying here is that dropout can be applied, can be understood in a different way. Okay, and then there's another regularization tricks for LSTM. So in the LSTM, we can control the gate in a different ways. So in the conventional LSTM, they don't actually push the gate. So the gates are trained to increase the performance. Okay, but there's no actually regularizations on the gate. So I thought, okay, what if we have regularization on the gate? Okay, so something like this. In the LSTM, they can look at any informations, no matter where it is. Okay, because it can enjoy the long-term dependency a lot, as long as they want, they can enjoy long-term dependency. So my question was, okay, what if we don't like that long-term dependency? Then we can control. So we can actually push LSTM to focus on local information as much as possible. So I actually put some regularization on this gate. So for example, we can push the forget gate to forget as much as possible. So when we actually put a regularization on these gates, then we had the same kind of accuracy. With the same performance, we actually change the gate activation patterns. So with different gate activation pattern, we actually enjoy the same accuracy. So which means this regularization works without any damage on the performance. Okay, so I'm done with this fundamental issue about RNNs. Then I'm going to move on to next topic, which is the language modeling with RNN. Okay. So, when it comes to AI, artificial intelligence, language plays a lot of role in the intelligence. Okay, so if the computer understands our language, then it looks like it is smart, right? So it seems intelligent if the robot can understand our language, right? So language is quite important when it comes to intelligence. So I'm interested in language, and there is some fundamental problem here. So our brain retains the symbolic language as continuous activation patterns. So by that, usually the language is composed of words, and the words are symbolic. The symbolic means when I say love, what does that mean? Okay. Or when I say a school, what does that mean? It's just a symbol. Okay. And the neural network cannot handle symbol. And in our brain too, we cannot actually, we cannot have this symbolic representation in our brain. When I say school, this school is represented by lots of activation patterns. Okay, so our neurons are firing to represent the school. Okay, we don't have a school in our brain as a symbol. Okay, so we have to represent these symbols in the vector space. That's the first problem when we talk about the language in the neural network. Okay, so semantic and syntactic relations are presented on the embedded space like this. So Beijing minus China plus Japan can be Tokyo, or quick minus quickly plus slowly should be slow in our vector representations. So we can see this relationship in the vector representation. When these words are symbolic, then there is no such kind of things in the neural network. Okay, so in the vector space, we can find some nearest neighbors, which means the relationship is defined. Okay, so the word embedding does that. Word embedding actually embeds symbolic representation to the vector representation. And as I said, the language is based on discrete, symbolic, and categorical words. Okay, actually, I think our thought process is based on discrete kind of processing or discrete representations, I guess. And the neural network needs vector representation of words. So language models use word embedding in this way. So usually when it comes to language modeling, people think of RNNs. So RNN language model works in this way. So this one is input, and this one is a hidden layer, and this one is output. And to input layer, we actually provide one-hot representations. And by this one-hot representation, we don't provide any relationship between the words. The relationship is not defined in this one-hot representation. But based on these one-hot representations, when we train our language model with the corpus, then these parameters, especially in this case, U is a matrix. This matrix will learn the vector representation of the words, okay, like this. So that in this matrix, we can actually find some relationship between the words in the embedding space. Okay, that's the language model. Or if you're interested in just word embedding, then we can use a skipgram or a cbox or whatever. There are lots of word embedding algorithms. Okay. And actually, the neural network-based language model was proposed by Yoshua Benjo in 2003. Okay. So language models estimate the probability of the word given the sequence. So the W, let's say the W is a sentence. So we're interested in probability of a sentence. And this sentence, in the sentence, there is an order between the words. So given the first word, and then we can actually estimate the probability of the second word. And given two words, then we can estimate the probability of the third word. Likewise, we can multiply this condition probability to estimate the probability of this whole sentence. So that's the actually basic equation about language model. And neural network language model action models the condition probability, this one. This part can be estimated by neural network. That's what Yoshua Benjo did in 2003. Okay, so that's basic idea about the language model, and then we have a different idea about these language models, because when we talk, when we have a little chat with our friends, then our conversation is not just based on the statistical knowledge. Okay, our chat is based on statistical knowledge and at the same time factual knowledge. Okay, there are two different types of knowledge in our conversation. So here is some examples. So let's say Kanye West, a famous unk means unknown word. Okay, so can you complete this sentence? Kanye West, a famous unk, and the husband of unk, released his latest album Unk in Unk. If you are a big fan of Kanye West, then you can complete this sentence. But to me, it's really complicated. I don't know how to fill these blanks in because I don't know him yet. I'm not I'm not a fan of Kanye West, so I can say, oh, he's a famous singer, okay, rapper or whatever, and the husband of, I don't know, I have no idea. So even if you are perfectly fluent in English, then you cannot finish this sentence, okay? And what about this one? Barack Obama's age is maybe 50 something. Okay, so let's say your answer is correct. Okay, your language model is correct to estimate his age. But what if we use the language model, the same language model next year? Then probably the model will be wrong, right? So what I'm saying here is that our conversation, our chat, our talk is not based on just the statistical knowledge. Sometimes we have to use factual knowledge to have a natural conversation. So we thought we can actually put this external knowledge as an external memory here. So this one is actually conventional language model, and we put this external memory here. So we have to change this language model slightly to enjoy this external model. So whenever there is an external memory, then we need attention mechanism, okay? So attention mechanism and external memory, they are kind of two sides of the same coin. So without external memory, the attention mechanism means nothing. Without attention mechanism, there is no external memory. Okay, so with this external memory, we actually add attention mechanism here. So that's it. So we got pretty good numbers, and let me show you this result. So given this warm-up subset of sentence, okay, and then conventional language model could generate this awkward sentence. Rory Calhoun was an Unk actress. She was born in Unk, 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 because this doesn't have any factual knowledge, so it cannot complete this Unk side. But in our models, Rory Calhoun was an American, and then we realized, okay, this time we have to look at the external memory. We need factual knowledge, right? So we actually look at, this one is actually switch. Oh, this one says, oh, we need to look at the external memory. Then with the attention mechanism, we found this profession. Okay, so we actually copy this actor to this place. So it was an American actor. And then can you see this difference? So this actor means he is he. So he was born in. Then now we need factual knowledge too. So we actually look at, so this switch says, oh, we need to copy the factual knowledge from our external memory. And then with the attention mechanism, we found this Los Angeles. So we copy this Los Angeles. And then statistically, we can generate California after this Los Angeles. Okay. So that's what we did about the language model. Okay, next one is neural machine translations. Okay, so in our brain, we have Wernicke's area and Broca's area. So we have a perception part and the producing part. So we have an encoding part and decoding part in our brain. Likewise, we can understand the neural machine translation in this way. So encoding and decoding. Actually, this graph, this idea was proposed by Yoshua Benjo in 2014, I guess. I think 2014 was the first year when he proposed this idea. And in this image, as you can see, if we have English encoder and English decoder, then this one is just simply a sequential autoencoder. But if we replace this English decoder with the Korean decoder, then it is actually translated. This is a little misleading. So neural machine translation is not that simple, but conceptually, okay, so if we replace this one with Korean decoder, then we can have English Korean translator, okay? And that one was actually implemented by Google in 2014. Okay, so they have two LSTMs, one for encoder, the other one for decoder. So ABC is one language sentence, and the WXYZ is target sentence in target language. Okay, so it's quite simple. So this one is a neural network, and then we can train this network based on this input and output. Okay, that's it. So they propose this idea, and then they publish this idea in 2014 NIPS. Okay, so in this presentation, in this architecture, there is a bottleneck representation here. So this one is encoder, and these ones are decoder. So between this encoder and decoder, we have one fixed length vector representations. So which means this sentence can be represented by one vector representations. And when we actually plot this vector into two-dimensional space by PCA. Oh, we got a couple of questions in the chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are, but would you prefer to proceed with your knee, or we can do that after your presentation? You want
Okay.
to answer?
So it's up to I can go through these questions.
All right. So we have one question from Mr. Mahathir Mohamad, not our former Prime Minister. He's one of the audience.
Okay.
Our former Prime Minister also named Tun Mahathir. Okay. What is the biggest challenge in the NLP and ANN at the moment?
Okay, so at the moment, this biggest is actually subjective word. So to me, everybody might have different idea about this biggest challenge, but I guess one of the biggest challenge is actually pre-trained model like BERT and GPT or Elmo, or so we can train the big model for language. Okay. And with this big model, pre-trained big model, we can actually add a neural network on top of it for a specific task. So that's the biggest trend in the current NLP research community. That's the biggest thing, biggest trend. And to me, another biggest challenge is actually neural symbol integration problem. So as I said, in neural network, we cannot have symbolic representations directly. But in our brain, we can process the symbolic symbols, okay? Like man dies and Socrates is a man, so therefore Socrates dies, okay? So we don't have any problem to process this symbolic logics, but in neural network, this is not as simple yet. So we have a working hypothesis in our brain. So our brain is implemented with neurons, but it is processing symbols. So we believe that the deep learning, the neural networks can actually process the symbols, but not yet. So how can we combine these symbols into a neural network? That is the biggest challenge to me. Okay.
We combine the symbols, yeah?
Yeah,
all right.
that's my understanding.
Yeah, our next question from Miss Nurul Azwa Muhammad Kadri. I have one question from my side. How has the NLP and ANN changed in the next 5 years? What do you predict will happen in the next 5 years or 10 years?
Oh, okay. So in the past 5 years, lots of things happened. Okay, 5 years ago, it was kind of beginning of neural machine translation. So in 2014, at the end of 2014 or at the beginning of 2015, a couple of neural machine translation was proposed. Okay, since then, lots of things happened. Before then, people thought, before neural machine translation, people thought language is hard for a neural network to be applied. Okay, so image is so natural. Okay, we have a CNN from 1989. Okay, so we could apply CNN to image recognitions or whatever. So image was so natural and so easy, but in 2014, we thought language was hard. But from then on, there was kind of explosion in this research community. So lots of NLP papers were published, and in 2015, the neural network-based machine translation was worse than the state of the art back then. Okay, then now neural network-based language translation is better than the state of the art. And actually, neural machine translation is better than human performance somehow, arguably. So it improved the accuracy and performance. And also we extended the kind of possibility to apply neural network to many different kinds of applications. So back then we didn't have Q&A systems, but now there are lots of papers about the Q&A systems, okay? And the Q&A system is not that simple. So something like this, we can ask some questions about an image, okay? Or we can ask some questions about the video. So we can combine this language and the video, or language and image, etc. So there are lots of different kind of applications we never thought before. Okay, so in the past we had lots of improvement and progress, and what will happen in the next 5 to 10 years? Okay, so if I know what's happening in future, then I'm not gonna be here. Okay, so I'm not psychic, so nobody knows actually. We work hard, and lots of people work hard. So I'm pretty sure something great will happen, but nobody knows. Nobody knows. Actually, 5 years ago, we had no idea. Okay, so from now on, a lot of things will happen, but nobody knows exactly. Okay, then I have one question. So what made you decide to tackle this subject? Okay, how did you get into the NLP and ANN research or field?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
quite close to the down as well.
Okay, that's a really good questions. Actually, this is a really funny thing. So when I was working in a company as a programmer in the middle of my undergraduate program, and I realized the programming is kind of red ocean. So there are lots of competition, and it was really competitive area. So I didn't like that. So back then, AI was not that interested to many people. Okay, not interesting topic to many people. So I thought, okay, if I major in AI, then it would be great. I'm gonna be alone there. Okay, so it would be a blue oceans, I thought. And but now things happened like deep learning. We are witnessing this deep learning explosion. So we are in the middle. I'm in the middle of this ANN and NLP, but I didn't mean this kind of situations. I didn't want this kind of situation before. But anyway, I'm here. So I don't know why I'm working on NLP or ANN exactly. I just started. I was interested in,
jump into the career.
yeah, I was interested in AI back then, like in 1990 something. So I was interested in AI, and back then AI meant neural networks. So I took a couple of neural network classes, and then it was so natural, I was interested in AI, so it was so natural for me to dig into this neural network. And then and actually there is a reason for NLP. So I was in Samsung, and we developed the speech recognition systems, and then we were talking about the next thing. And I was the guy who is in charge of proposing the next thing. And I was thinking, what would be the next thing after speech recognition for Samsung? And I thought back then the neural machine translation was proposed. So I thought, okay, so machine translation would be the next thing. So I moved on ahead of other researcher in our team. So while the other researchers are still working on speech recognitions to complete the project, I actually moved on to the next thing, which was neural machine translation. That's why I'm in NLP, I guess. Okay.
I remember in Malaysia there were 3 factory on Samsung, Samsung Corning, Samsung Display, and what's the other one? Samsung.
Semiconductor.
Yeah, semiconductor. It was in Negeri Sembilan.
Uh-huh.
I was wondering whether I think Samsung Display and semiconductor still exist, but Corning I'm not quite sure whether they're still running their operation.
I'm not sure. I was at the research center, so we have been working with the Samsung Display and Samsung Semiconductor and lots of department, and I was focusing on just speech recognition or smart factory, and I'm not that kind of business kind of person, so I have no idea what's happening in the business area.
There are interested parties who are keen to collaborate with your team in machine learning. Is there opportunity for us to work on this?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So actually, I have some students who are working on image or video too. But we have other professors who are actually working on the computer visions mainly. So we'll see what's happening. We'll see how it goes with other professors. So there is always opportunity to collaborate, I guess. And the next question is, what tips or advice would you give to audiences who want to start getting in this research or field? What is the best resource for audiences who want to dive in deeper? Okay, this is the beauty of this deep learning. Okay, so in deep learning community, we publish all the codes. Okay, so if we have some implementation, then we put this implementation on the GitHub. Okay, so even before the paper is published in a conference, then we just publish the paper in the archive and we just publish the implementation. So if you're interested in this area, then you can jump in. Okay, just to study some basic things. Okay, take some basic kind of fundamental class from YouTube or Coursera or wherever. So a couple of months would be enough. And then dig into some specific applications. Like if you're interested in computer vision, then dig into these computer vision problems. Or if you're interested in language things, then dig into this language thing. And there are lots of implementation there. So if you're interested in machine translation, okay, for example, then first study deep learning. Okay, so you have to understand basic idea about the deep learning. So I think it will take like a couple of months. And then if you're interested in machine translation, then just download the code and read the specific papers. Then it will take a couple of weeks. And then if you have any idea, if you have a new idea on top of this current state of the art, then add and implement your idea on top of that implementation given by the author. Then you can improve the performance. Bam. So now you can publish your own paper and you can publish your implementation in GitHub. So it's simple. So the learning curve is a little high in deep learning, but everybody can start so easily. Okay, so as long as you are okay with the linear algebra As long as you're okay with some equations, then there's no kind of threshold here. So everybody can start so easily. That's the beauty of deep learning, I think. Okay. If if my answer is not enough, then you can ask some following questions. Okay.
Yeah, you can
So
always.
let me move on to the next question. So
Yeah.
isn't any opportunities to collaborate with your team in machine learning? Yes, there is opportunity there. That's why we have these workshops, right? So we can talk for future collaboration. But I have limited resources. I mean, I don't have many students. So, and I don't have, actually I'm running a couple of projects too. So it's not easy to find some time or some additional resource, but anyway, we can talk. Okay, so if the topic is really, really interesting, then I can give up some current research topic and then I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We have enough for the questions. You have
Okay, good.
approximately like 13 minutes more.
Okay, so I heard that in the timetable we don't have break time, so at least we need a 5 minutes break. Okay,
Yeah.
between two sessions.
We gonna hang on. We're gonna have our lunch time. At 12.
We have a lunchtime right after this session. It's lunchtime. Okay,
Yeah.
so I can enjoy like 15 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
we start again at 2.
okay, so but still, I will do my best to finish before 1:30. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to what I was saying. So in the middle of this encoder and decoder, there is a representation. So this sentence can be represented like this. But this one is actually, as I said, this one is actually bottleneck. So between the encoder and decoder, one fixed length vector representation should be enough to represent all kinds of sentences in the world. In universe, we have infinitely many sentences, right? So these infinitely many sentences can be represented in the one fixed length vector vector space. So it's a burden, okay? So instead of representing the whole sentences in one fixed length vector space, then we can actually enjoy this attention mechanism. So instead of using these vector representations, we actually use all of them. So from the encoder, we have lots of outputs, like, we have output here because we don't use this output. That's why we don't have arrow here, but technically we have output here and output here and output here. So instead of using only these outputs, we can use all the outputs here. Okay, and then since we have a lot of output vectors, then we can focus on one at a time. So look at this one. Given this image, okay, from this image, when we generate one sentence, we actually generate one word at a time. So when we generate this word stop, then we are actually looking at this part. So we are focusing with our attentions. So with attention on this area, we are generating this word. That's easy, right? So when we generate these trees, then we put our attention around here. So we don't have to summarize all sentence with this vector. Instead, we can enjoy all of them. So this attention mechanism is actually a standard mechanism for neural machine translation now. Actually, there was a competition between this Google translation architecture and the Montreal architecture. But now Montreal architecture is kind of standard. So with attention, we can translate from French to English. So in French and English, the order of the the word orders are similar to each other. So the attention is actually diagonal, pretty much diagonal. But between the Korean and English, the word order is completely different. So we can, in this, it looks like arbitrary matrix, but if you understand Korean characters, then this is perfect. The attention is working perfect. Okay, so in 2014, neural network-based machine translation was not as good as the state-of-the-art. This state-of-the-art machine translation was based on the statistical machine translation. But now, neural machine translation is way much better than statistical machine translation. Okay. So for machine translation, we don't need any linguistic knowledge. Okay. So as long as we have enough pairwise corpus, then we can train the neural network, and then we can make machine translation. So actually, the last paper, my last machine translation paper, is about English and Finnish. And I know some about English, but I have no idea about the Finnish. Actually, I have no idea about the alphabet of Finnish. Okay, I don't know how to say hello in Finnish, but I wrote a paper about machine translation between English and Finnish because we have pairwise corpus. This is what's happening in deep learning. Okay, so as long as we have a data set which is large enough, then we can train the neural network without any domain knowledge. Okay, so I talked about the word embedding. So in neural machine translation, we need word embedding too. And think about this word embedding. Think about apple. So word apple. So apple means two completely different things. Fruit, is it fruit or is it company? It depends on the context. When I say apple is delicious, this apple means a fruit apple, but apple is let's say Apple is better than Samsung, then this Apple is company, right? I don't mean that, but anyway. So the same word Apple can mean completely different things based on the context. So I thought, so we have to use this context to define the meaning of the word. So I actually changed the network architecture slightly. So by that, I improved the performance significantly. And also, there are lots of variations in attention mechanism. And I proposed another kind of attention mechanisms, and I published this paper with Yoshua Benjo. So this one was with Yoshua Benjo 2, and this one was with Yoshua Benjo 2. So with fine-grained attention mechanism, we improved the performance, and we found some interesting results too. Okay, and this is what I said before, like a neural symbolic integration problem. This is quite a challenging problem. So in our brain, we have neurons. We don't have computer chips in our brain, but still our brain is perfectly working with the symbols, okay? But in neural network, currently yet, neural networks cannot work with the symbols. But think about this von Neumann computer, which is perfect for symbols. So neural network is implemented on top of von Neumann computer, but neural network cannot handle symbols, but von Neumann computer is perfect for symbols. So how can we combine these two approaches in the same kind of model? That's the big challenge. Okay, and as a part of this kind of challenge, then I thought we can use some knowledge, symbolic knowledge in the language model. I already told you about this knowledge things in language model. And also we can use symbolic knowledge in neural machine translation too. So think about this English and French. Between these two sentences, World of Warcraft and Warcraft third. These words are not translated, okay? These are kind of, we don't translate these words. So my idea is quite simple. Can we use the symbols instead of this word? So this one is symbol 1 and this one is symbol 1. Then it's perfect. So we can translate the symbols from symbols to symbols. Then by by that, we improved the performance significantly. So I wrote one paper with Yoshua Benjo, and this is result. Okay, so this one is better than the previous one. And think about these numbers. You know, in the Google Translate, the numbers are not perfectly translated. Just to try by yourself, okay? And I know why these numbers are not translated perfectly. So instead of translating the numbers directly, then I used just the symbols, and then based on the symbols, we can translate these numbers perfectly. There's no problem in translating numbers. Also, if we can use proper non-dictionary, then we don't have to translate in the model. We don't have to translate the proper non in the neural network model. We can just translate the symbols, and then we can copy and paste. Okay, that's pretty much it. And I don't have enough time to go through this sentence generation. So let me just skip. Sentence generation is a really interesting part too, but just let me skip that. And speech recognition, I told you I was in Samsung to propose the speech recognition system. So we developed the speech recognition system back then. And currently, you know, the recurrent neural network is not the popular topic, honestly speaking. Instead, attention mechanism is working. So in standard neural machine translation, we had recurrent neural networks and attention mechanisms. So we had the combination of RNNs and attention mechanisms. But now, the state-of-the-art model is only based on the attention mechanisms. There is no RNN, there is no CNN. Just attention mechanism is enough for neural machine translation, for speech recognition, for speech synthesis. So transformer, we call it transformer. Transformer goes everywhere. That's kind of the current trend. And the model compression is another important topic. So, you know, the speech recognition can work in the software perfectly, but we want speech recognition systems on device. To have these systems on device, we have to compress the model. The model is too huge to be on the smartphone. So that's important topics. Okay, and that is one of the biggest challenges too. And also, I just told you the model compression, but in this slide, there is a data compression. So we want to compress data too. So there's another kind of important topic. Think about this one. We watch YouTube a lot. Okay, so if we compress the YouTube videos without loss of significant information, then we can save lots of bandwidth. Okay, so we can provide more videos to more people. Okay, so data compression is another big topic, and I'm working on the one project about audio compression. Okay, and another topic, another research project is network intelligence. So when we watch YouTube, then you know, the YouTube from the cloud server from YouTube, the video signal should go through all the networks, and the first problem was how to find this shortest path. Okay, in this network, we have to go through the DNS and the parent control and firewall and etc. etc. There are lots of network functions, and then which path would be the best path? That is one important topic in network intelligence, and we implemented and proposed a new kind of network architecture based on the graph neural network and RNNs, and it works perfectly. So sometimes it's better than, you know, the true labels. And also, we had a couple of more projects with POSCO. So in this case, the load balancing with AI is all about smart factory. Okay, so we use the deep learning to replace engineers. And we worked on blind spot detection with fisheye lens for self-driving car. And we have other problems in network intelligence. Okay, that's it. So now 1:30, perfect. Okay, so we are running out of time. So if you have any more questions,
Yeah, I think they
then
will.
you can email me, or I can get one last question if you have.
Anybody wish to ask questions about?
Actually, we got a lot of questions in the middle of the presentation, so I think it's okay to
respond to most of the questions.
Okay.
Colleges, I think so far we can see and understood, the capacity and effectiveness of the recurrent neural network.
Mhm.
We are also aware of the possibilities to apply RNN models to complex NLP tasks such as handwritten recognition, language modeling, machine translation. And I think some of your good other point is combining all of these powerful techniques. It appeared to provide compelling methods for us to understand the complexity of the language.
Uh-huh.
I think your presentation is a bit technical. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the technical side, and it's, I think, opening a lot of opportunity for our researchers to ponder and explore this further.
Yeah.
Prof. Henry, I thank you very much for your insightful presentations. And I think we keep in touch and look forward.
Yeah.
Your email is there. Should there be any
Yeah.
further, move and inquiry from us, perhaps to look into, future collaborations, we get back to you.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
Yeah. So we shall take a break now, and to all of our audience out there, we come back sharp at 2 p.m. for our next session. So I'll see you then. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Okay, boleh keluar lah. Jomlah kita pergi makan, nak cepat. Nak menjawab. Berapa orang? Janji petang ni cukup 4 ni mesti ada. You punya tu ya? Bengkel apa? InsyaAllah. Apakan daya. Sekerat di sana, sekerat di sini. Tak apalah, at least ada on and off. Kalau ni come back, ya? Itu bukan apa ni, penat brain. Kita punya side talk more about itulah. This is the convergence yang sometimes, orang-orang IT dia fokus too much on the technical side, kan? Sama lah juga orang yang dah kuat. Dia dah ada tu, dia dah penat tau. So malah nak fikir pasal business.